Welcome to Van Ran 10 Eezeey Gamer. Okay, so the premise of Eezeey Gamer is usually to, expose you to easy video games, but in this case I'm going to talk about video games as well, and video game topics and subjects and things of that matter. I need to try to, diversify my portfolio or my YouTube presence. Now currently I have a whopping 1 subscriber as of filming this video. I don't plan to get more than that, but if I do, go ahead, hit, if you watch it, subscribe, it'd be nice. I'm going to try to do tons of these things. Granted, I have a full-time job, I can't really do them all the time. But let's just get into the topic, and I have a nice little cute little thing that I've decided to use for this, because there's these neat little apps. So here it is, right here, check this out. I wrote that myself. If we can get that. Nintendo Switch, 5 reasons it's going to fail, 5 reasons it will succeed. Okay, so we'll start with the failure first. We'll get the negative out of the way. 5 reasons. Number 5, I'm going to look at notes again. You're going to find that out. I do this a lot. Not enough third-party support. Nintendo has had a major issue with its last few consoles of third-party support. Whether it was the N64 that stayed cartridge-based when everybody went to an optical media, whether it was the GameCube that went to a small optical media instead of the normal-sized optical media everybody else was using, the Nintendo Wii that was basically underpowered compared to everybody else, the Wii U also underpowered, and now the Switch. Another problem is it'll be underpowered, and they're going kind of back to cartridges again. It's hard for the big gaming companies to produce. You're never going to see Grand Theft Auto 5 probably on the Switch. You're definitely not going to see Red Dead Redemption 2 on the Switch. Don't expect to see Mass Effect Andromeda. The bigger games will not make it to this system. So if you're a Nintendo fan and you still want to play those kind of games, you're going to have a PS4 or you're going to have an Xbox One. Third-party support is going to be still a problem, I think. But if they can get third-party developers to maybe develop games specifically for this unit, they have a chance. But I don't see it happening because it costs a lot of money to make games for one console. The other problem with it, number 4, it's too expensive at launch. $300 for this tiny little unit. It only has 32 gigs of actual storage space on it. And it's just, when everybody heard about the Nintendo Switch, I think we all said to ourselves, it's probably going to retail for about $250. And I think a lot of people were probably fine with it being $250. All that being said, at $300, they sold out of all their units initially. So, and that, that's going to kind of counteract some of the major issues that they have. They do have at least a strong base now. But the fact of the matter is, it's still too expensive. I might buy a Switch. I might buy a Switch someday, but not until the price drops. I'm not a big Nintendo fan. The Switch does intrigue me. It looks like a pretty cool little thing, so I'm going to give it time to see what bugs need to be worked out. Of course, there's not a lot of Netflix isn't even available at launch. They don't have their online eShop really up and running really strong either. Number 3, graphical horsepower. I've mentioned this a little bit in number 5. It's still underpowered compared to its rivals. And its rivals are 3 years old. Nintendo, I feel, really rushed this thing out. Pat the NES Punk brought it up as being a beta. I agree with them. This is probably about a 6-month beta test for this unit. Not a bad idea. They kind of get in there on the ground floor. But I still think there are going to be some issues with, it's just not strong enough to push a lot of the top flight games that are going to be coming out, which was going to leave them off the list, unfortunately for Nintendo fans and people who buy this thing. You're not going to get the big ones. The next Elder Scrolls that come out is not going to be Skyrim. Yes, a 7, 8, 10-year-old game. Yeah, you can put that on the Switch. But if they ever come out with an Elder Scrolls 6, it's not going to be on the Switch. There's just no way the Switch could ever push it. So the graphical horsepower is still a problem. Number 2, paid DLC on sacred franchises. And by the sacred franchises, I mean Zelda and I mean Mario. Now, I'm not even talking about Mario Kart or Mario Party or Smash Brothers or anything like that. The sacred cows are the Super Mario Brothers games and the Zelda games. The Zelda fans already kind of lost their crap a little bit when they heard that they were going to have to pay for a hard mode on Zelda. That's ridiculous to have to pay for a hard mode in that game. It should already be there. But, now Nintendo is going to start nickel and diming its fans. And I think that might hurt it a little bit because Nintendo fans kind of always have said, our games are intact from day one. We don't have a lot of paid DLC on the sacred franchises. Now, I have not owned a Zelda game since Zelda 1, the original Zelda. I've not been a huge Zelda fan, but Breath of the Wild looks like a fantastic game, and it's one of the reasons I wouldn't mind getting a Switch someday. But I think that if they are going to start nickel and diming their fans, Nintendo, they're going to have a major, major issue going forward. I think they might be able to get them used to it, maybe, but a lot of old-time Nintendo fans might not buy in. And the number one reason, paid online. For a long time, Nintendo fans could always kind of brag, hey, we don't pay for our online service. Yeah, but your online service sucked. Now you're going to have to pay for it. Now, if Nintendo's online service is not on par with with Sony's and with Microsoft's, there's going to be more screaming because you're paying just as much, almost, for those two services. And for Nintendo's service to not be as good could be another major issue that hurts this machine in the future. All right, so we've got some negatives. Let's go into some positives very quickly. The number 5 positive, still innovative. Nintendo loves to innovate. Nintendo loves to take chances. This is a nice little innovation. They don't just make a box and give you a controller and plug it into your TV. They're looking for ways to expand gaming into different areas, into different realms, have it take it with you, have it stay at home. They are at least still trying. They are still innovative. Years later, they're still doing things. They had the smaller discs with the GameCube. Who knows? What if those would have caught on? They stayed cartridge-based that wasn't innovative, but they stayed cartridge-based when everybody else went away from it. The Wii motion controls that actually kind of worked. Then they even tried the gamepad with the Wii U. Didn't really catch on, but it was something different than everybody else was doing. Number 4 on this one, quality of the unit. Nintendo's machines are always quality units. You can't ever look at a Nintendo machine and say it's not built right, built with quality, built with longevity in mind. You're not going to get the red ring of death, and you're not going to have to flip it over on its lid to make it work. Sony fans and Microsoft fans, we know the problems that we had. I've had to flip a PlayStation on its lid to make it work, and I've never had the red ring of death, but I've known people with it. My Xbox 360 never gave me that problem because I kept it properly ventilated. All right, number 3, the reason this thing will still succeed, Nintendo fanboys. Nintendo fanboys are absolutely blind to any problems Nintendo may have. They think Nintendo is a cute, cuddly company that cannot do any wrong, when in fact they are a giant corporation like Sony, like Microsoft, whose primary goal is to create shareholder value. Get your heads out of the sand. They are a giant corporation, but Nintendo fanboys always believe that Nintendo is doing right, even when they're doing everything massively wrong. That it's still a good backup plan. I mean, or not backup plan, but it's still a good thing that Nintendo has fans that'll stick by them. One reason they will still manage to be a little bit successful with this. Number 2, home consoling taken on the road. Now, Sony did try this with the Vita. It didn't catch on, but Nintendo has a better reputation with its portable consoles. So, with the portable console being a strong point for Nintendo all these years, now you can take the home console and take it on the road with you, and then you can play it on the road and then take it and plug it in back home. It's 2 consoles in one, which, if you want to think of the price at $300, you can maybe think that I'm getting a portable and a home console all at the same time. But the fact of the matter is, it is another really cool part. I would love to play this Breath of the Wild game at home and then take it with me and play it at like a DMV, or when you're sitting in an airport. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Love the idea. And the number one reason this machine will succeed, Zelda and Mario. As long as they have those two franchises and they take good care of them like they always have, it will succeed. They always do a really good job with those games. It's very rare you get a bad Zelda game or a bad Mario game. In fact, I can't really think of one right now. So, with all that being said, what's my final verdict? What do I think the Nintendo Switch will do? I think it'll be a huge success for Nintendo. I think this thing will sell anywhere from 70 to 100 million units over its lifespan. It will get, it's got me intrigued, and I'm not even a Nintendo fan. I can pretty much say I don't really care for Nintendo at all, but even I kind of want this thing. And on its first price drop with a pack-in game, I'm all in. So for all of that, I think Nintendo's got a hit on its hands, and they're going to do absolutely fabulous with it. So if you like this video, please like it. Please subscribe. I'm going to do more videos like this and other types of videos as well. I'm going to have a very eclectic collection of videos on my channel. And to all of the soldiers, past, present, and future, thank you for the freedom.